Welcome to the Dr. Francavilla Show. I'm your host, Dr. Carolyn Francavilla, board-certified family physician and diplomate with the American Board of Obesity Medicine. I've been helping patients lose weight to treat and prevent medical problems for the last 10 years, and I'm taking what I've learned from them to you. In this podcast, you will learn the science behind why you struggle with your weight and what to do about it, tips for common challenges, work to fight bias about what a healthy weight really is, and improve your relationship with food and your body. Please remember that while I'm a doctor, I'm not your doctor. This podcast is meant to be informational in nature only, not medical advice. Please seek out care from your physician for your specific needs. Okay, let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Dr. Francavilla Show. Today, we are going to talk about eating more veggies. I find eating more veggies is a piece of nutrition advice I frequently give to my patients. And today I'm going to give you my top 7 tips that are not salad on how to increase vegetables in your diet. So let's quickly talk about why we might suggest that. Why would someone tell you to eat more vegetables? Well, the first reason why is that we have pretty good data that vegetables are good for us. So it is a pattern of eating that is associated with good health, living longer, living better. And part of that is all these phytonutrients that are in the vegetables. All the things that make them different colors are unique phytonutrients that help our body in lots of different ways that we can't replicate with vitamins. So, vitamins will keep you alive. They'll keep you from getting terrible diseases, but we have all these health benefits that come from fresh fruits and vegetables that you can't really replicate. Another huge reason why vegetables are important is the fiber that also has health benefits. Fiber is also going to keep you more full. And so if you are working on maintaining a healthy weight or losing weight, increasing the amount of vegetables you eat is going to help your stomach feel more full without eating higher calorie food that makes you feel full. So that's another great reason to eat more vegetables. Now, there are a couple people who maybe should be careful with increasing more vegetables. Number one, if you know they upset your stomach, proceed with caution and go slow. If you are on the medication Coumadin, you often have to be careful with changing how much produce of any sort you eat. So if you're on Coumadin or warfarin, check with your doctor before you change how much vegetables you eat. And then lastly, if you have had gastric bypass surgery or a sleeve surgery, some sort of bariatric surgery, or you are on one of the new powerful anti-obesity medications like Wegovy or Zepbound, Mounjaro, Ozempic, Saxenda, Victoza, any of those, and you get full really easily, then you are not going to be that person who we want to add a lot more fullness with veggies. You may need to eat protein first before bulking up on veggies. So those are some people who might want to proceed with caution before they increase veggies. But for the vast majority of us, increasing veggies is a great health strategy and can help with weight maintenance or weight loss. So today, we're going to talk about 7 ways that you can increase vegetables in your diet. So it is fall right now for me as I'm recording this. And one of my favorite ways to eat vegetables this time of year that's not a salad is roasted vegetables. Roasted vegetables are super, super, super easy to make, and you can roast most vegetables. So probably my favorite roasted vegetable are carrots, but I also like Brussels sprouts, zucchini, onion with anything, eggplant. So there's tons of different vegetables that you could roast. Peppers, if I didn't say that. And you can make a mix of these. Sometimes I like to chop off 5 or 6 different ones and kind of arrange them in a pan so that it's a rainbow. So you have like green zucchini and orange carrots and red peppers and purple onions and green broccoli, and you get this beautiful rainbow of vegetables. And then whatever you're doing, whether it's a mixture of vegetables or just one of your favorite vegetables that you're going to roast, just go ahead and drizzle that with olive oil, salt, pepper, any other seasonings you want to use. I've been a huge fan of garlic powder lately as a seasoning. And you're just going to season that with your seasonings, your olive oil, and then put it in the oven and roast it at about 400 degrees, maybe a little hotter if you like it a little crispier, for about 30 minutes. So easy peasy, you just roast these vegetables. You can find tons of recipes online, but it's pretty idiot proof. That's more or less what you do. And then with these roasted veggies, you can make these a side dish if you're having, a meat entree or another protein that's non-animal based as your main dish. You could also serve them on top of a pasta or a chickpea pasta like banza that I'm a huge fan of. Drizzle some olive oil and balsamic over there and put it on top of your pasta. You could toss it with some beans. We did this last week. We had some roasted veggies and we tossed some white beans in there with them, some cannellini beans, and added just a little bit of balsamic, olive oil. That was delicious. Or you could put them on top of some lettuce and make it a salad. So lots of different ways that you could use these roasted veggies. And one of my favorite thing about roasting veggies is you can just get so many of them. It's really easy to take a sheet pan and just make a ton of them. And then you have cooked veggies that are ready for your whole week. So super easy way to increase veggies in your diet, just roasting some veggies. And again, pretty simple to do. You can find recipes online, but basically you're just tossing with a little bit of olive oil and seasoning and baking for about 30 minutes at 400 degrees. All right, tip number 2 for increasing your veggies is using riced cauliflower or riced broccoli. So if you've not tried riced cauliflower, it is a great substitute for rice. I've always been a huge fan of stir fry, and I always used to love white rice. Unfortunately, I discovered white rice is something that really spikes my blood sugar. And I also discovered a long time ago that I am not satisfied from a reasonable portion size of rice. When I eat rice, I always want to eat a lot, and it's just not worth it to me to eat a small portion. I don't enjoy a small portion of rice. And so riced cauliflower is a fantastic substitute. You can put your stir fry on top of riced cauliflower. You can use it to make a burrito bowl. We were actually out of tortillas at our house last night, so I just had some cauliflower that was frozen and riced already. I sauteed that up and I put my taco toppings on top of the riced cauliflower. So super easy way to get more veggies in that way. You can make riced cauliflower yourself by chopping it super tiny. You can also put it in a blender or in a food processor to get it chopped up really tiny. And it's pretty easy to find at lots of grocery stores now, either in the frozen section or the fresh section already riced. At that point, you can boil it, you can steam it, or you can saute it. I like to saute it with a little bit of coconut oil. That is my favorite way to make it. But if you're trying to cut more calories, you may not want to add that oil, but lots of ways to make it. And again, you can use it anywhere that you would use rice as a side dish, or, you could put your chicken tikka masala on top of it. Whatever you are making where you would use rice, you could now substitute cauliflower rice instead. Some people will also do half and half, where they do some rice or some wild rice mixed in with their cauliflower rice. And that's another way to do it. Now, you may have heard of cauliflower rice, but maybe you haven't seen riced broccoli. And riced broccoli is also another way you can replace rice. But I find that it's so flavorful if you're a broccoli fan that it's just kind of a more fun way to eat broccoli. So if you have this riced broccoli, you could mix it with some riced cauliflower, and it tastes great with a cheesy profile. So if you eat dairy, you could put some Parmesan on top of it or some cheddar cheese. If you're not someone who eats dairy, you could add some nutritional yeast or a non-dairy fake cheese to it. But it is a great profile, and it's just a really fun, different way to eat broccoli, and it might be a fun way for your family to also try broccoli if they are not a fan or are just sick and tired of plain old steamed broccoli. So tip number 2 is trying riced broccoli or riced cauliflower as a way to get more veggies in. All right, tip number 3 is soups and stews. Soups and stews are probably the easiest way to add veggies. You can easily add most vegetables to most soups and just increase the nutritional value as well as the fullness you're going to get from the fiber. One of my favorite things to add to soups is baby spinach. And so you can just buy the big clamshell or a big bunch of spinach, chop it up if you need, or just toss it in whole. Once it gets cooked, it shrinks down super tiny. So it is shocking when you put in a huge bushel of spinach into your soup and it basically just disappears. So, really easy way to add a ton of leafy greens to your diet is to put them in with your soup. You can also put chopped kale or chopped collard greens in with your soup. And leafy greens have so many nutrients in them. So, great way to add those, especially in the winter and in the fall when maybe a salad does not sound appealing and you want something warm. Tossing in leafy greens to your soups and stews is great. But soup is just another great way in general to get a lot of veggies in. Carrots, onions, celery, peppers, zucchini, eggplant. These are all vegetables that I think go great in soup and are just an easy way to get more veggies in. The other thing I love about soup and stew is like those roasted Brussels sprouts. It's really easy to make a big amount of soup. And now you have this veggie rich dish that you can eat for many days. You can freeze it and have it for later. And then you can add protein to this, of course, by adding whatever meat you like, sausage or chicken to your soup, or by adding beans to the soup as well. Super easy, affordable, nutritious meal to make a soup with beans and veggies. Really doesn't get more nutritional powerhouse than that. So, some easy ways to get more veggies in is by adding them to your soups and stews. And that is a good way to trick your family into eating more veggies too, if they're not that excited about eating vegetables. All right. Tip number 4 is frozen vegetables. In an ideal world, getting fresh, locally raised produce is ideal, but that's not possible in lots of the country for lots of the season. And a lot of times, if we buy produce ourselves, it goes bad in our refrigerator before we use it. And a lot of the produce we get in different parts of the country may have traveled a week or two to get to us. And so don't feel bad about using frozen veggies. When they freeze those veggies, a lot of the nutrients get locked inside. So, in some ways, you may get more nutrients than some of the produce that may have been, sitting in a truck for 2 weeks coming from Argentina for you to get it. So, frozen veggies are a super convenient way to keep more veggies in your life. They're going to be stable in the freezer for, 6 to 12 months, maybe longer. So, if you don't use them right away, you don't feel like you're wasting them. And great way to supplement meals if you need to add more veggies, but you're out. So we love to keep frozen green bean, frozen peas, and the mixed veggies that have like the corn, the peas, and the carrots, and sometimes green beans in with them. Super easy to steam or just microwave and add to a meal. You can also use those frozen veggies to make stir fries, to add to your soups, to add to a pasta dish. So just easy to keep around, easy way to add more veggies to your life without having to go grocery shopping multiple times a week to keep things fresh. Another option is smoothies. So, number 5 is smoothies. And when we think about smoothies, we often think about fruit. And for some people, they can end up getting like way too many calories from fruit and sugar when they are putting too much fruit in their smoothies. So, another way to bulk up those smoothies and get some nutrients in there is to add some vegetables. I think probably the most popular vegetables to add to your smoothie are those leafy greens. They kind of like in soups, they just disappear into those smoothies. One thing you want to be careful with is color combinations. So if you don't care or the smoothie's just for you and you're not trying to convince your kid to eat it, that's fine. But if you mix a bunch of spinach or kale with blueberries, you might end up with kind of a brownish smoothie that doesn't look appealing. So I think the leafy greens, the spinaches, and the kales that you might want to use in a smoothie go best with fruits like banana, apple, papaya, pineapple, if I didn't say that, sort of your lighter colored fruits. So you end up with a really beautiful green smoothie instead of sort of a, brown or sort of ugly shade of purple that you might get with some other combinations. And then you might want to add protein to your smoothie. You can do that with a protein powder of some sort. And then one of my craziest smoothies that I like to make is to use like a vanilla protein powder and then add frozen broccoli to it. I have done this several times and I am a big broccoli fan, I will admit, but I find that combination of vanilla with that subtle broccoli in the background, it kind of just mixes in there, is actually pretty delicious and an easy way to get a serving of vegetables in to my day. All right, tip number 6 to get in more veggies is vegetables and dip. This along with the frozen veggies, is a great, easy way to get more vegetables in. I am always amazed at how many vegetables I can get my friends and family to eat if I just put out a big veggie platter with some dip. So there's lots of options you can use for dip here. Hummus, I think, is a great one because hummus is going to have some protein and a little bit of fat in it. And that can make it a little more of a filling dish or even make veggies and dip a light meal for you. So hummus is great. They make those little pre-made packages of hummus that are single serve. We bulk up on those at Costco, and that is just such an easy meal or snack to have some baby carrots, broccoli, celery, peppers, snap peas, whatever veggies you like to have around, and just dip that in some hummus for a meal. Another one of my favorite dip tips is to go ahead and make your dip from a Greek yogurt. So you want to make sure you get plain Greek yogurt. Do not get vanilla. That is not going to go well, but get a plain Greek yogurt, whether you get 0% fat or 2% fat, you're going to get a lot of protein with that Greek yogurt. And then you mix a dip package in it, just like you would for a sour cream dip. So you can get like a ranch packet or a French onion packet and mix that in with your Greek yogurt, your plain Greek yogurt, and then you have a really high protein dip that you can dip those veggies in. So that is a great like light lunch or snack if you're trying to get more veggies in. And that's one of my favorite dip tips that I give my patients. Guacamole can make a great dip for veggies. I know I love chips and dip, but you can either add some veggies when you put the chips out so people can eat a mixture, or you can eat a mixture, or just skip the chips altogether and use things like peppers and carrots and cauliflower to dip in that guacamole as a dip. And then one of my other favorite dips that we seem to always have in our house right now is the bitchin sauce. If you have not had this stuff, it is awesome. It's actually made primarily out of almonds and then some sort of magic and spices. It is delicious. And funny story, my kids are a big fan of it, but we did not want them going around saying the B word. And so we called it kickin sauce for a long time. But the bitchin sauce is great, fun way to dip your veggies and get more veggies into your life. So veggies and dip, fun, easy way to get more veggies in. And you can really dip lots of different vegetables into these dips. Carrots, I think, are super popular. Celery, cauliflower, broccoli, peppers, bell peppers are great, or those little tiny sweet peppers that come whole. You can dip in that. Snap peas, jicama, whatever you want. Lots of great choices there, but easy way to get in more veggies. All right. And tip number 7 of how to get in more veggies without eating more salad is spiralized veggies. So if you haven't seen these are those vegetables that kind of look like a curly Q. You can buy a spiralizer and make these yourself, but they're also pretty easy to find pre-made at lots of grocery stores nowadays, either fresh or frozen. And you could eat these as a side dish. You could saute them with some olive oil and garlic or something. But I think the most popular way to use the spiralized veggies is just to steam them or saute them and then top them with your favorite pasta topping. So if you like a spaghetti sauce or a meat sauce, instead of putting that on top of a bunch of pasta, you can use these spiralized veggies instead. My favorite is to use a combination of zucchini, yellow squash, and carrot. It makes this really beautiful rainbow of the spiralized veggies. And then you put your pasta sauce on top. Pretty easy, fun dinner and way to get a lot more veggies in. So if you have not checked out the spiralized veggies, check those out. Easy way to get more veggies in. And most people find that what they really love about pasta is the sauce. So put your favorite sauce, whether it's something you make or something you buy, on top of spiralized veggies and see if that works as a way to get more veggies in. Okay, so we just covered 7 different ways to get more veggies in without me telling you to eat salad. We have roasted veggies. We have riced cauliflower or broccoli. We have adding them to soups or stews. We have frozen veggies. Don't miss out on those. Easy to keep around. Adding veggies to your smoothies and getting some good dip to go with your veggies. Your homework this week is pretty easy. If you have not tried one of these strategies, pick one to try this week and then let me know how it goes. If you haven't connected, I'm Dr. spelled out Dr. Francavilla on Instagram. So find me there, follow me, and let me know what you thought of these veggie tips this week, which one you tried and which one's your favorite. And if you have not checked out our free weight care guide, I just released that a couple weeks ago as part of my anniversary special. That is going to be available continuously on the website, The Dr. Francavilla Show. So go check that out. Get your free weight care guide as a starting place on your journey. All right, until next week, take care.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Francavilla Show, where we learn about all things related to weight and health. If you love this podcast, make sure to leave those 5-star reviews and share this podcast with a friend or loved one. If you have a topic about weight and health you want me to tackle, head over to the website, thedrfrancavillashow.com, to submit your question. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss next week's episode. Take care.